President Bada, we're ready to start the meeting. We're live on here.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. All right. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation. Today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. It's a little after 9:30. It's 9:31. And welcome to everybody who's in the room. Please stay warm. It's a little chilly in here. It's like the Arctic freezer. Actually, we have 35 or 45-mile-an-hour winds outside. They're supposed to be. So maybe it is permeating inside too. So stay warm. We have a Pledge of Allegiance being directed by Ellen Leonard. Director Leonard, are you ready?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. I think, number one, I would like to ask everybody to silence their phones. So that would be a good thing. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any media people over here or in the sky, in the cloud, as we call it? So if they are, we like to acknowledge that we know they would be there. Right. It's now time to approve the agenda. But before we do that, I'd like to, how do we do that?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay.
But no, I want to make a motion to change the agenda.
Okay.
I would like to pull item
It is 12G.
12G
Yes.
out and postpone it until next month.
Thank you.
That's my motion.
Yes. And William, did you second that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay. All right, thank you. So with that, we approve the agenda with the amendment.
Sorry,
correct?
quick question though. With removing that from the agenda, you guys would have to then postpone the approval of the ad hoc committee as well.
I guess.
So the procedure would be you'd approve the formation of the ad hoc committee and then you would approve the committee appointments itself with the directors that are on that committee. So by removing the committee appointments, you would have to also postpone that as well.
Okay, I'm not sure
So
if I did.
I would change my vote in that case to
Okay.
no.
Okay, so do we want to
Okay,
redo-
so you're just withdrawing your motion?
Okay.
I'll submit a new motion.
Sure, okay.
Okay, so let's first withdraw one and
Yeah.
set up a new
I'll
one.
withdraw that, and
Okay.
I'll make a new motion that says, for item 12G, I would like to strike the change in appointments for the Mobility and Vehicles Committee
I think there's
until
something.
next month for further discussion.
I think there was something else also.
Yeah, we can do that when we're on discussing the committee appointments. We can just make sure that that
Okay.
specifically is
Okay,
postponed.
then
All
I'll
right.
withdraw the motion, and you can go on with approval of the agenda.
Okay. Are we okay, Michaela?
Yes, we just need a formal motion to approve the agenda
Okay,
as
all
is.
right.
Thank you.
You need a motion? Okay, I move to approve the agenda as posted.
I'll second it.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next item is approving the minutes of the last three meetings. Do we want to do it all together?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve all three.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. If there is no objection, then all are approved. Okay, report of the chair. Okay, I have a few things to mention. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody, to the residents and the staff and my fellow directors. I haven't met everybody I have met everybody individually, but not all together in this kind of format. So, Happy New Year. And welcome to our new director, Andy. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, this year we are going to make sure that we have open communications with everybody. That is very important to me. It has to be clear and well known. Also, we're going to make sure that we commit to improve our amenities whenever possible. We will work on many projects. The one that we want to talk about today is broadband. Broadband is the number one thing that we are going to work on and get it going. It's going to be a big improvement in the service of our internet, our television programming, and all of that. So it is a big thing. So I hope you are all on board with us, and we'll get it done soon. All right. Lastly, I want to mention about the mobility program that the city of Laguna Woods is talking about. I think I have a flyer for that, and it's right here. I'm going to hold it up so TV6 can project it, to the people in the home. I strongly recommend that all our community, and it's for people over 60, 65, 60. It's very important. It's a door-to-door service, and for a small amount of $5, it will take you up to 10 miles, and I think there is another one. It takes you to the airport and all the good stuff. If you have to go to the city hall, it's free. And the best part is you don't have to stand in line or wait at the bus stop to get your bus. And if you miss it, and you have to wait another half hour or 45 minutes for it. So this is an excellent program. Me and my wife both use it, and I can tell you, I'm so happy with it. So strongly recommend that everybody goes to the city hall and gets themselves an individual card. Okay? Yes, sir.
I'd like to mention that poster that you held up is actually on the Laguna Woods Village website. I think it's under news, someplace buried in there. And so you can find it on the website. It's called the Senior Mobility Program. And hopefully we'll be able to get that advanced up higher in the hierarchy of the website in the future. So it's one of the first things you might see when it comes up.
Bottom line, it's a great program.
It is.
And everybody should enroll and get it done. It costs very little amount comparatively, and costs nothing to sign, you're right. So go get it done, everybody. I would strongly recommend it. And lastly, we have some interesting information about EV charging. We are going to be able to bring EV charging to our community. Please wait for more information. I don't have much to share today, but that is something else we are working on. So people who have EVs, we are thinking about you also. Thank you. What else do I have? I guess that's it. And now we can move on with our main item. CEO's report. Thank you.
President Vada. This morning, I want to present an overview of the results of the VMS 2024 Resident Satisfaction Survey that was recently conducted. and mention that the full report is available on the village website under the News tab. It's very visible, so you can't miss it there. In terms of background, on May 22nd, VMS senior management and board directors met to update the VMS strategic plan and define 3-year priorities with a key commitment to providing exceptional service to our residents. This goal requires a clear and reliable means to measure progress and success. A VMS ad hoc committee consisting of 3 board members considered various measurement tools and recommended conducting a resident satisfaction survey. The survey objectives include measuring satisfaction with VMS services, identifying areas for improvement, enable consistent and comparative results over time, build confidence in the results among residents and staff, and enhance alignment with resident expectations and our organizational goals. In terms of survey distribution and promotion, the survey period was November 20th through November 30th, 2024. The survey could be completed online or by paper. Paper surveys were available at all of our facilities and in the Towers lobby and on village buses. The survey was promoted in What's Up in the Village and the Village Breeze. We also received leadership support from the GRF and Housing Mutual presidents and club presidents. In terms of survey methodology and insights, this was a voluntary survey. Voluntary surveys by nature carry inherent biases. Responses often come from those groups that are motivated to respond, those with concerns or who have had positive experiences. Neutral or less engaged individuals are less likely to respond. Whereas the random sample survey method is the most statistically reliable if all selected participants complete responses, this requires extensive resources, including repeated follow-ups via phone and in person to ensure responses are obtained from every sample member. And without full participation, even a random sample faces some voluntary response biases. Given the goal of improving VMS operations, voluntary surveys are a practical and a valuable tool. They can provide meaningful insights for improvement and success and enable trend tracking over time to assess organizational progress. Our overall survey response rate was 3%, which may have been influenced by the requirement that a respondent includes their ID number on the survey. While this measure ensures survey integrity by making sure someone is a resident and preventing duplicate submissions, the ID requirement may discourage participation since some people want complete anonymity. 6.8% of all submissions were rejected due to invalid or missing ID numbers. Now on to the results. This result shows satisfaction by length of residency. The above average satisfaction score of 3.5 highlights an opportunity for further improvement toward achieving the goal of exceptional service. The survey results also provide guidance for targeted efforts. Satisfaction trends based on residency length suggest an opportunity to better engage with our longer-term residents. Lower satisfaction levels among this group may stem from evolving expectations or comparisons to previous service standards earlier in their tenure here in the village. On the next slide, this chart reflects residents in all housing mutuals and demonstrates similar satisfactions across those housing mutuals. In terms of satisfaction by function, functions and area of needed improvement include landscaping and building maintenance to the right of the slide. The next chart shows communication satisfaction by mutual. Communication is a key emphasis of VMS. We need to enhance our communications in however way we can, and so we paid particular attention to communication in the survey. So again, the chart shows communication satisfaction by mutual. It's pretty consistent with the exception of mutual 50. This chart shows reliance on communication channel by mutual. Residents primarily rely on email, the Village Breeze, and the Laguna Woods Globe for information. And these are grouped to the left on the slide in front of you. In terms of those who completed digital versus paper surveys, out of the 800 paper surveys distributed, 76 hard copy surveys were returned. There is little difference in satisfaction levels between the digital and paper respondents as shown on the chart before you. In terms of satisfaction levels between digital and paper respondents, there is pretty much consistency with the exception of security and maintenance, which have small differences between digital and paper respondents. With respect to communication, we found little difference in satisfaction between those who submitted digital and paper surveys. This chart, thank you. This chart shows reliance on communication channel, again, looking at those who submitted digital surveys versus paper. And the key distinction is that paper respondents are less likely to use digital communication channels, which is no surprise because they submitted a paper survey. In terms of considerations for future surveys, future VMS surveys should focus on maintaining data reliability and providing actionable insights. Recommendations include retaining the ID requirement to ensure data accuracy and prevent duplicate responses, utilizing hybrid formats to balance cost considerations with inclusivity, scheduling surveys earlier in the year to align with strategic and budget planning processes, adjusting question order to improve clarity, and determining the best way to reach our non-English speakers who comprise a large majority or a large component of our population. And that's my presentation this morning. Again, the full report is available on the village website for those who are interested. Thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Is there anything else you want to mention?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Next item. Any questions, anybody?
I would just like to make a recommendation to Siobhan. I have been on Nextdoor for quite some time. I do purchasing of like furniture things, and what I have noticed is when information is posted on Nextdoor, like for an example, the senior mobility program for the city, for the taxis, you'll get 2,000 views in 24 hours. So your channels of communications here, you might want to consider having some outreach directly on Nextdoor, not that people can post and make replies or responses, but just for notices about things like an event or senior mobility program. Yes, we have them in Village Breeze and we have them in Globe, but as you say, different people get their information from different places, and Nextdoor is a very active place, and you can just pick which communities you want the things to be posted for.
Thank you. We'll pass that on, and
Thank you.
it will be considered. Thank you. Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, yes, Alison?
Okay. A big hooray for the removal of the sneeze screens.
Yes,
The sneeze
yes.
screens are gone.
Yay.
It took a couple of years, but we did it, and now we have better, I think, a better audio situation, better visual situation. There's less glare and bounce back and so on for people who watch at home. So hooray, hooray, sneeze screens are gone. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yes, Helen?
I wanted to respond to Siobhan. Was there any incentives offered for the survey?
No, ma'am.
Oh, did we reach out to the clubs, like?
We did. We reached out to every club president and asked them to please encourage participation. The one place we really think we need to focus more on, though, is our non-English speaking clubs for the next time.
Okay, because we didn't publish it in any other language, is that correct?
That is correct, but
Okay.
you can always translate
Yeah.
using Google Translate.
Got it, thank you.
Gary?
Two things. A whole lot of the folks communicate primarily by email, right? Well, if you send this survey to their email and they respond, then you probably don't need an ID for them because you know that you know it's coming from that location. Just a thought. Digital or something else, yeah, I see that. Other one, again, I'm a newbie, second meeting. Maybe it's available, but I haven't seen it. The VMS strategic plan. Where could I get my hands on that?
You're actually going to receive a copy of it this afternoon, the current one, and then you will receive a copy of the updated one as soon as it takes place at the end of January.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, we'll move on with that then. Okay, so the next item is the open forum. It's open for, do we have any requests? Okay, so it's 3 minutes per person. And I'm not going to read this whole mumbo jumbo over here. But the bottom line is be mindful, be nice to people. Okay, and all right. So who's the first speaker? Unless somebody wants to read this, I don't want to.
You have 3 minutes.
The bottom line is you have 3 minutes to speak. That's it.
First speaker is Chris Collins.
Oh, always. Always good to see your happy face.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to all
Thank
of
you.
you.
You too.
Chris Collins, 3306Q, and I'm here with an update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, which we do on behalf of residents who are experiencing temporary financial emergency. Thank you. We have a great deal to be thankful for. The holidays that give us a chance to acknowledge our gratitude for the many benefits and blessings we experience, and celebrating the holiday with family and friends, let us acknowledge the power of community. The Foundation of Laguna Woods Village is particularly grateful for the power of community and the generous support it receives via donations from the individual clubs and other organizations here in the village. This generous support permits the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village to once again provide holiday cheer to needier village residents. With the help of social services and the South County Outreach Food Pantry, the Foundation was able to identify some 135 in need of such cheer and provided them with grocery cards to ensure each had a special holiday meal, something that they may not have had otherwise. These donations and support are particularly appreciated as the Foundation celebrates its 27th year of operation. This year, the Foundation was able to continue its core mission of providing temporary emergency financial assistance to residents needing help. In addition, it continued funding Meals on Wheels, providing scholarships to the Alzheimer's support services, transporting residents to the food pantry, sustaining fall prevention classes, and providing emergency response devices to fall risk residents, among other ongoing programs. Of course, this year the Foundation also started a new initiative to provide financial assistance for hearing aids. In addition to all the individual residents who have donated to the Foundation, we are particularly grateful to the following clubs, religious organizations, and other groups that have donated this past year. And here's a partial list. The Aquedettes Art Association, Center for Spiritual Living, Chicago Club, College Club, Concerned Citizens, Garden Club, Joyful Christian Church, Korean Bio Senior Group, Lawn Bowling, Men's Golf Club, Needleworks Club, Publishing Club, Republican Club of Laguna Woods, Saddleback Kiwanis Club, Sarah's Bible Group, Sewing Supers, Table Tennis Club, Taiwanese Club, and the Yancey Alumni Association. So best wishes for the new year, and thank you for your generous support of the Foundation. It is truly neighbors helping neighbors. And so for more information, please go to our website, which is thefoundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org, or you can contact the Foundation at 949-268-2246, or the Foundation at comline.com. Please note that donations can always be made using PenPal on the Foundation website. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Joan Milliman.
Good morning, Joan Milliman, 9693E. I'm coming to you to represent Robert's Rules Study Club. And we want to offer to you a course on the basics of Robert's Rules. Not that I think everyone here needs that at all, but for a review or for more in-depth facility with the rules, since we always have to follow them, and they're different from corporate rules, they are not the same. We're going to be using as a textbook this little book that you all have, Robert's Rules in brief, and as our text for guide, the study guide from the National Parliamentarians Society, and it's available online. So if you can't make our course starts in February, the first Monday in February, which I think is the 2nd of February, my gosh. And it's at 969 Rec Room, 969 Calais, Aragon. And I'm the sponsor, but I'm not the chair this time. Anyway, we're inviting you and anyone else who wants to review Robert's Rules or even learn them for the first time to come to our course. It's going to be over a period of months, but you can get the materials and do a self-study if you want to, that I recommend coming to get your questions answered and puzzle through some of the problems we all have at our meetings, getting through the proper order and procedure. So I hope you will come on February to Robert's Rules Study Club. Watch the globe for the time. It's usually 3:30 in the afternoon, and it'll be the first Monday of February in 969 Calais, Aragon. Okay, thank you so much.
Joan, I have a question for you.
Question?
Is this every Monday or once a month?
It's once a month.
Once a month. Okay.
Right, so hopefully
That
it'll
was
be
important to
easy
know.
on our meetings.
Yeah.
Say again.
Yeah, I remember when I first got on the board and I started to do this, it was every week, I think.
No, not Robert's Rules.
Was it? Maybe I'm still remembering something else. Okay.
It's the first
There's
Monday of
another-
every month?
First Monday
Sorry.
of every month, yes.
First Monday.
Usually it's the first Monday of the month, unless it's a holiday, and then they postpone it to the next Monday.
It's
Which
very
I-
good, thank you. Yes, Gary. Oh, who's next? I didn't see your hand, but go ahead.
I attend that. I've been attending Robert's Rules for a year, and hopefully you see some improvement in my motions. Yeah, and it's February 3rd, and this year I thought we were going to do a little role-playing as well and bring some more new ideas to it to make
Well,
it.
this will all come up within the meeting.
Yes, I know, I'm giving a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, information, but it is an excellent meet and understand the rules that we run our meetings by.
Yes, Gary.
I would suggest that we consider having a parliamentarian like Joan or someone serve as an advisor to us for, say, the first 6 months until everybody's really grounded well.
We can put that under consideration. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, thank you,
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you. Yeah. All right.
Next speaker is Georgiana Willis.
Morning. I just have a question. I was looking at the budget, 2025 budget and the equestrian center, and it's got 75% sharing. And I think it maybe was at 81%, but it seemed to me the last time I was in a meeting here, someone suggested taking it to 70% sharing, which I still thought it was rather high, but anyway, so that's what I understood to be what the increase or the sharing was. But here it's 75% sharing. And the thing is, the budget and the figures are not complete. I don't know if they're meant to be or not. I don't see any insurance costs, and there are at least 2 insurance policies, one of which costs us $50,000 a year, and the other one costs more. And so I was wondering where these other details are. It's hard to see what the costs are. We provide hay with the stalls, I think, at our cost. So people who have horses are paying, who live here now, I think the new price is maybe $410 a month versus the $900 to $2,000 a month that you would pay elsewhere. So I was just wondering, where are the rest of the figures? Like the insurance and stuff, the details.
If I may, this is not the right venue for it, but CSE meeting is this week on Thursday, and it might be best to address this concern over there, because I don't think although I'm the chair of the committee, I don't have that information to let you. Okay, go ahead.
I think the insurance shows up under the insurance area, and that is itself subdivided by things that are insured. So under insurance, the question center and the amount of the insurance cost. I don't have the budget in front of me. But
You're saying to look under insurance or something, because it's not here.
my understanding is that the insurance is a line item in the budget, and all the insurances are under that line item, and they indicate what they are. So it is subdivided, so you should be able to find where whatever insurance we have for the equestrian center is. And I'll verify with the finance director.
Well, I guess sort of getting the whole picture, because this is only a partial picture. So if you're wanting to know what the whole picture is, you need to know what other things to look under then.
Actually, this is getting a little one-on-one question answer, so we will send this information to, thank you.
Okay,
To the CSE department, and maybe they can respond to that at their next meeting.
thank you.
Thank you. Unless, Siobhan, you have some information.
I was just going to suggest that we'll have staff address it on
Good.
Thursday at the meeting.
Thank you, yes.
Yes. Next speaker is Marie Collins.
I had put this down for number 14G, but should I speak now?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to piggyback on the chairman's words about the taxi service. The $5 per transportation. I'd like for the mobility committee to look into GRF making a deal with the city of Laguna where we replace the buses that carry 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5 people that are regularly scheduled, those regularly scheduled bus things. My very cursive comparison shows that we would save about half when you look at driver money, salary, insurance on the buses. We could cut down maybe down to 4 buses for special uses, but I think a cost comparison would be extremely effective. I also have been asking people sitting at bus stools waiting on the bus to come, what they would feel about being able to call and get them to come to the door. My personal experience has been you can even call right now, and they're there within 10 or 15 minutes. I thought you had to do it a day ahead of time. That's not true. You can call anytime, and they have been, in my experience, really, really prompt. So I would like for somebody to consider looking into that savings. It might be considerable, and it'd cut down on gas, it'd cut down on, everything that the mobility, that the buses cost. I'm not suggesting get rid of all the buses. I'd say retain maybe 4 of them, but this regularly scheduled bus service is extremely inefficient. Now, how many have you seen on a bus at a given time? And if you get a better service, like right now, and that person doesn't have to walk all the way down to where they catch the bus. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Truly appreciate it. Any questions, anybody? Or we'll go to questions a little later with everybody.
Final speakers, John Salvador.
Who is?
Oh, okay, looks like he left. That's all for open forum speakers then.
Thank you. Huh? Sorry? Oh, you have a question?
No, I have comment,
Okay.
now that we've heard members' comments.
Yes.
Thank you, John, for the invitation for the Roberts Rules, although you're not here.
Oh, she's at the back.
Oh, she's back there? Oh, there you are. You're hiding behind Steve. I can't see. You're shorter than he is. To Marie Collins, excellent suggestions. Our next M&V meeting is February 5th, I believe. We have been in contact with the city manager at this point already. Chris Macon and Robert Carroll and myself met at City Hall about a month ago, and I charged both of them to put their heads together and start coming up with some ways that we might be able to improve services for the residents, to a cost saving to Laguna Woods Village, and if there was additional monies available, that the city could contribute to their program to help offload some of our burden. So they're talking about that. We're going forward, as I mentioned earlier, about taking the senior mobility program flyer that we have on the website and advancing it up forward. So know that we are working on that, and it's one of my core things going forward as chair. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? Yeah. Yes, Egon.
I'd like to thank Georgiana for bringing the money question to the full committee, to the full board. Sometimes when you go to committee, things can get handled there, and sometimes they can get lost there. So it's good to bring it to the full committee, and the more eyes on our money, the better. Thank you.
Yes, Martin.
The taxi service. My first experience with them was to drive my wife and I to the airport. Called them 5 minutes before they arrived. Oh, yeah, the driver's dropping off. He's going to pick you up next. 10 minutes after he was supposed to be there, I call again. Oh, we don't have your reservation. And I'm like, what happened to it? He says, we don't know. And I stayed on the phone. I did not hang up. And I waited 20 minutes for them to get it figured out. And anyways, thank goodness I allowed for extra time to get to the airport. Nonetheless, 30 minutes late, that taxi guy finally showed up and got my wife and I to the airport. So I allowed for the extra time thing. So anyways, I got a little bone to pick with the city in respect to that. But I'm sure that on the way home, there was no problem. Thank you.
Yes. Marie, 1 second.
Just to clarify my suggestion, I'm only suggesting this for replacing the buses within Laguna Woods. Going in and out, it's a different matter. That's not replacing a bus. Our buses don't do that, right? It's just the buses inside.
Yeah, that's within the
Thank
village.
you. That was
But
my
the cab
suggestion.
service can take you as far as John Wayne for $25, which is
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
It's a bit too early to talk about
Yeah.
getting rid of the buses. But
but-
first, let's get everybody enrolled. That
But
is a big thing.
inside Laguna Woods, like I say, I've had many experiences that were very positive, and I'm just talking about replacing the bus service inside.
That's going to come a little later.
If
Right
you
now-
use them, allow for extra time.
Yes. Yeah, we've used this bus, the taxi service, and it's terrific for me to come to your house. I don't have to take a bus and change it at Clubhouse 1. It's from door to door. That is the bottom line, which is most important. Okay? And that's why I'm recommending that everybody do that. Yes, Ellen?
I wanted to respond to Martin. You can get a number, a reservation number from Senior Mobility, and that will confirm your reservation, even if you had one? I had one. Okay. Well, all right.
Those are details. Let's not worry
Yeah,
about it right now.
okay. No, I love the idea of getting a cost comparison. I want to talk to Chris Collins. I want to know, I remember I used to get, oh, Sheila, oh, Chris
Yeah, but it's
Collins.
okay.
We used to get in the mail somewhat of a financial from the foundation. I would like to make a public comment that I would like to see a copy of that. A copy of it was a summary of donations and everything, so. Number two, Georgiana, thank you for your comments on the Equestrian Center. I'm on the CAC, but finance is to be following that every other month, and we're hoping to get all those expenses broken down, so that would be Mr. Cowan over here. He's supposed to report on it, and because finance will report to him. And let's see, Robert's Rules. I already made a comment on Robert's Rules. I don't know if Joan mentioned it's at 3:30. So let's see. And that's it. Thank you.
Yes, Gary.
Suggestion related to what Georgiana said. If where we come in, where like say it's equestrian, there are what I'd call direct costs are there. Ancillary or side costs like insurance are, I understand, are stated someplace else. But if on that page where it's the equestrian, if on the bottom of that we put an asterisk or whatever that shows, here's other costs that are, if they're specific to that program, like we have to buy a particular insurance for equestrian, that down on the bottom of that, we go, okay, starred, it isn't a direct cost, but these are indirect costs. So if you want to see what the total cost it is to run equestrian, here it is, a suggestion.
Thank you, and our budget staff is listening, so they will take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ellen.
I'd like to comment to Gary's comment. I'd also like to see materials and supplies. That's all they put, materials and supplies. We need to know how much the hay is because we provide 2 hay turnovers a day, and how much the feed is because there's like 4 levels of feed and some is more expensive than the others. So I think there needs to be more of a breakdown on the Equestrian Center expenses, and I hope to see that in the finance. Thank you.
Okay.
The revenues and expenses of the Equestrian Center will be shared at the CAC meeting.
Okay.
So,
Okay. If we have no other comments, can we move on? Okay. So next is the consent calendar. Do we want to, can I hear a motion to
I'll
approve the
move
consent
to
calendar? You want to make a motion?
accept the consent calendar
Okay,
as stated.
Steve moves, any second? Allison seconds. If there's no objection, then we have the consent calendar approved. Next item is unfinished business. No, there's none. So new business. Are we feeling warmer in here now?
Maybe a little. It's 71.
Okay, so I can take my hat out because I had the hat on because it was kind of chilly on my head. All right, so moving on. It's new business. Looking for a motion to approve recommendation to delay Par 3 shade cover removal. Can I hear something? Do you need to read something? Yes.
President, if I may, we're seeking direction from the board as to which option you'd like us to move forward with on this project. We presented an option for a solar structure item at the December 11th MNC committee meeting. The committee unanimously recommended that the board direct that the removal of the structure, which was previously scheduled to be done per prior board direction, be deferred, and that the board provide direction to staff as to what next step should be. So basically, you had previously reviewed this in November. The MNC committee would like you to take another look at it and provide direction to staff. To facilitate your discussion on this matter, we've included 3 options for you under the recommended action section. You can direct us to leave the shade structure and the canopy in place, and then return with alternatives for replacing the shade structure at a future meeting. That's the recommendation from the MNC committee. Or you could ask us to move forward with repairing and replacing the fabric that's currently covering the shade structure. Or you could ask us to remove the structure, which was your previous direction to us, and then give us appropriate direction on how to move forward. Or you can do any combination of those as you deem appropriate.
So, do we need a motion first to discuss that?
I have a question.
Huh?
I have questions for you.
But before we do the discussion,
Let's have a motion.
yes, let's have a motion. Who's moving?
We have a 3-part.
So,
I make a motion.
Okay.
I move we delay the removal of the shade from the par 3 golf course structure until we have a complete program to replace it, and that's it. Thank you.
Do we have a second for that?
A second.
Okay, Allison seconds. Okay, now we can do the discussion. Yes, sorry.
This is gone between the old board and the new board, and the transition in the MNC committee to Brad Reinhardt being chair. I think we got a little off base here because what the original recommendations made by staff, the prior board, as I recall, said just remove it, take it down now, it's in disrepair, we'll figure out what we want to do when spring comes, whether that's putting up umbrellas or possibly solar or whatever the case may be. And that was the decision, as far as I recall, at the last MNC meeting when staff made the presentation about solar. That seemed to throw everything off. And that presentation about the solar was only really a report. It was not meant to be a recommendation or to move forward with anything. It was just an example of what could be done if we took the existing structure down and put up a new structure. And it kind of got in the weeds a little bit, and then it was like, well, let's leave it there, was the recommendation. Okay. So, but I have a question, because I was at Par 3 last week, and 2 months ago, the structure was rusted and was in disrepair. And when I was there last week, the entire structure had been repaired and repainted. And I'm curious as to why, if the previous direction had been to remove, and then the direction was, we'll leave it there, we'll deal with it later from the MNC, how the time and the expense of the man hours and the paint to repaint that entire structure occur when the underall premise was, it's probably going away. So maybe Manuel could address that.
certainly, we have, just as a matter of practice, have empowered our field staff to take proactive actions whenever they see any maintenance issues that need to be addressed. In this case, The field staff was not aware that the board was going back and forth on whether or not to remove the structure. The supervisor in the field made a judgment call, felt that the structure did not meet the standards, the high standards that this community holds for their facilities, and so he had his crew paint the aluminum structure.
Okay.
The superficial rust was removed and painted over. There are still portions of the structure that are completely rusted through that need to be repaired. So based on any direction we get from the board today, we'll either go out and make those repairs, or we'll just leave it to stand until the board directs otherwise.
Yes, Martin.
The repair of those areas where it's rusted through, is that repairable, or does it need to be replaced? That's my first question.
It is repairable,
Okay.
depending on what you want to put as a cover.
Yeah.
We need to determine whether it's structurally sufficient to support
I saw the
what we're
frame.
going to put on there.
It looks really good. They did a great job on the paint job, but like I say, it needs to be repaired. The framework, I could see the cost effectiveness of just doing that and replacing the canopy is probably our least expensive option, you would say?
The least expensive option is what staff originally recommended, which was to remove the structure and install umbrellas on the tables.
No, no, no.
That's the least,
That was
least expensive option.
Well, that was a temporary option that you proposed.
No.
What is your?
No, that was staff's permanent solution. The
But
I
board
beg to
decided-
differ.
Well, the staff report is included in your packet.
Yep.
That's
Until
what's provided
we've
to you.
came up with a solar solution. I don't want to rain on the solar religion, okay? I mean, this is a small building. There's not much power that building draws from. To put forth, a solar project that's going to be very costly for something that's so, a minor structure, I don't know if that's going to be cost effective. We can't just be dumping money into these places for the sake of, advanced technology. So I'm just saying,
One at a time.
Director Rosa, I'm just trying to be accurate in my response to your questions.
Okay.
The cheapest option, the less expensive option was option one, listed in attachment one, which was presented, which was to replace it with umbrellas.
Okay.
The solar option was something that the board discussed and directed staff to do. That was not the staff recommendation.
Okay. One at a time. Gary, what is your opinion?
Steve and I may be having the same point here. Martin, you're right in the sense that Par 3 is not going to use a lot of electricity. But what you may not be aware of is as we're looking at solar chargers, one of the places that we're looking at putting those solar chargers is there. And if that in fact happens, then we will certainly have the demand there that would justify the solar.
Okay. Yes.
Again, we have two different groups of people talking about the same issue, and I feel sorry for staff because they're here again talking about the same thing. The original recommendation was made to remove the structure because of the dilapidated condition of the structure. During that conversation, there was some discussion about maybe we could take the shade cloth off and put solar panels on top of it. Mr. West expressed a concern that may not be feasible and may acquire additional engineering, which would have to be determined. But based on the condition of the structure, the board said, take it down, and as far as umbrellas are concerned, we'll talk about it next spring because people are not going to be sitting out there when it's 60 degrees outside and raining in the winter. That's what was done. The sidetrack happened when staff was asked, well, if you took that down and you wanted to put solar there, what might be possible. So it's here in the report, and they show the little thing, and they did a rough order of magnitude cost, which I appreciate. But in reality, at the end of the day, you don't need the structure, you don't need to build structures to put solar on the roof of the building. So this is a completely side conversation about the solar. But I do want to make it very clear to everybody, because under net metering, you can produce 100,000 watts of electricity over here on a building that only consumes 10,000, and you can net meter the excess 90,000 to another building and offset it from there, and to another building, and to another building. So the site location is incidental to the net metering process. This building uses the most amount of electricity. We do not have to build a solar plant here just to cover this meter. It could be across the street. It could be on broadband. It could be in other places. And I just want to make that clear to everybody. I just wanted to find out why it got painted. Mr. Gomez explained it. I kind of see that as a communication disconnect, because if you're talking about removing something, I mean, if the car doesn't run and needs a transmission and an engine, don't put a transmission in it and say, well, we're going to junk it anyway because we're not going to buy the engine. So I'll let it go now, and we can put it to a vote or whatever.
So,
Mr. Chair.
it has already been painted, and you say there are some sections of the frame that still need some attention.
Correct.
Correct. And we have a welding shop in the yard. Can our welders fix that problem? Because if we have the staff that can do it, can we get it done?
We can.
Okay.
That doesn't address the condition of the canopy.
Canopy, is that in a situation which needs to be replaced?
Yes.
No.
The canopy needs.
I haven't seen any tears over there because I've been there quite
It's molded. It's
Mr.
a
Chair.
health hazard.
One second.
Am I right?
That was the
One-
reason for the removal of the entire thing.
So that was the reason for the removal of the canopy?
Yes, that the shade cloth gets moldy, it would require so much servicing and cleaning, and Mr. West is back there nodding his head. Perhaps we should ask Mr. West to come up and review the information, but again, I think we're off track here. This is really simple. We were supposed to take the thing down and revisit it in spring, and now we're someplace else and someplace else. So what's our current motion on the table here, Michaela?
To delay.
To delay.
Okay.
Can I speak?
So,
Yes. One sec, everybody. Egon wants to say something.
As usual, I've so often said you need to look at something before you can understand it. I regularly use the par 3 golf course. I have for a long time. And the condition of that shade was the same last year as it is right now. And there's absolutely no reason to rush and remove it. Nothing is happening. The only problem there is there are two parts of the shade and they end up in a V. So you've got a cloth roof that you can't walk on, and the V traps leaves from the surrounding trees. The leaves trap moisture, hence they get some corrosion. But there are no tears, there are no damage. That thing would be there 10 years from now with just a few more leaves on it. And it had mold 5 years ago. Okay, that doesn't mean we have to do it this month. For God's sake, can we have some reality and common sense into the thing? We've had a condition that's been the same for 5 years. We don't have to rush off the cliff in January or February. And we wait until we get a good plan to replace it, and that's that.
And I will concur with Egon because
Especially
I
this
use
time
that
of year.
shade
Yeah.
and to go and sit over
Yeah.
there and have some coffee. It's really a good calming place to go. If you haven't been there, I strongly recommend that you go and relax over there. Watch the people play golf.
we have a motion on the floor. Do you
Yes.
want to take a vote?
So,
Repeat the motion, please.
Yeah, the motion is to delay the removal of the shade pending further plans.
Second.
Yes.
Second.
Second. We already did that.
We did?
I just repeated.
I just asked them to reread.
Call the vote.
Yeah, okay. We need to vote. All those in favor?
We're going to use the screen, sorry.
Oh, now we use the screen? Okay.
Okay.
Delay the part 3 golf course, yes. Sorry, guys. All right.
I like that screen.
Did you get through? Okay.
The hell?
Okay, next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boy, that was like,
Okay, next item.
Can I ask a question of Manny before he goes? He
Manny's
had
still
said
there?
something that triggered me, and he said the word field staff. How many field staff do we have?
170
170 in the field?
in my department,
170,
170,
170.
roughly.
So field staff changes light bulbs and that kind of thing?
Correct.
Okay. We have light bulbs out in the, I understand, in the library,
Parking lot.
parking
Clubhouse
lots,
7,
Clubhouse 2, am I right?
Clubhouse 7.
Clubhouse 7. What else we got? Don't put your head in your
Anyway.
hands, Steve. Yeah.
What is
I
the
know.
question? What is
My
the
question was, we have 170 field staff that should maybe not have painted.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next item is entertain a motion to approve donation of the cups for Clubhouse 1 Drop-In Lounge. Looking for a motion for that, please? Thank you, Allison. Second, Egon. Any discussion?
Yeah. Again, I got on the board in April, and I've been hearing about this, and it's now January, and we keep discussing it. Are we
Okay,
ever
if
going to
there's no
come to a
discussion, then we
decision?
will, if there's no objection, then we will vote for it. All in favor?
Are we going to go back on the machine?
Are we doing it on the, on? Yes. Okay. 12B, please vote. Did it go through?
Okay.
Okay. Motion carries? Okay. Okay. Pardon? All motion carries. Okay, next item is entertain a motion to approve donation of a drill press for Clubhouse 4 woodshop. I look for a motion.
I so move to accept the donation of a drill press for the Clubhouse for Wood Shop.
Thank you, Allison. Second? Anybody?
Come on.
Okay, Manohar seconds. Thank you. If there's no objection, then we'll move forward.
Is there a resolution that we got to read?
There must be.
no, there is. Just hold on a second.
9025.
Yeah. Or we need to read it?
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay, please go ahead.
All right. Resolution 90-25-XX, donation of drill press for Clubhouse 4 woodshop. This agreement entered into the 7th day of January 2025 is by and between the Golden Rain Foundation, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation, and Laguna Woods resident donor who offered to donate a gently used drill press, Shop Fox model W1669, to replace an existing older Harbor Freight countertop mounted drill press at Clubhouse 4 Woodshop. Whereas GRF and donor recognize the importance of community facilities and amenities, and whereas GRF and donor acknowledge the benefit of the donation when they have a purpose consistent with GRF goals and are in the best interest of Laguna Woods Village. And whereas the donor has offered to donate the gently used drill press shop Fox model 1669 to replace an existing older Harbor Freight countertop mounted drill press at Clubhouse 4 wood shop, and whereas the Recreation and Special Events Department Director or Financial Services Director reviewed and affirmed the proposed donation meets the criteria for acceptance contained in the GRF donation policy. A, meeting a true need of the facility, not interfere with the intended current or future use of the facility, and not require the relocation of other equipment or infrastructure to accommodate the donation. Now therefore be it resolved January 7, 2025, that GRF and donor, in accordance with the prescribed conditions and obligations herein set forth, agrees to as the following. Section 1, the donation known as a gently used drill press shop Fox model 1669 to replace an existing older Harbor Freight countertop model mounted drill press at Clubhouse 4 wood shop, described below, is donated in its entirety to GRF, hereafter owned by GRF and managed on the behalf of residents of the Laguna Woods Village by Village Management Services. Donation description drill press. Location Clubhouse 4 wood shop. Donation amount of donation item cost $473. Installation cost 0. Maintenance cost 0. Estimated total donation $473. GRF reserves the right to remove and or retire the donation following the cessation of a 5-year period. The term shall commence upon the date entered into and indicated above. GRF will not replace the donation or community space improvement if it is stolen, vandalized, worn out, irreparably damaged, destroyed, or expired. Installation and maintenance. GRF shall be responsible for the installation and maintenance of the item, including any reasonable repairs. Section 7, term of this agreement is a minimum of 5 years or beyond, if applicable, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized to carry out this resolution. Approval of this resolution is requested.
We have a motion.
I move that we accept the drill press for Clubhouse 4 wood shop.
Discussion?
I second.
We already had a motion that the vote.
We're in the middle of voting.
We've already started voting.
Yeah. So do we need to vote now?
Yeah.
You should be able to
discussion?
vote right now on the screen in front of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's vote, please.
Point of order, Mr. President. We failed to read a resolution regarding donation of cups for Clubhouse 1 into the record. Can we stipulate it as read? Yes, I see a nod from Siobhan, so we can stipulate it.
Thank you.
As read, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote this one.
Gary, it looks like, okay, yes, we have it. We're all good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Kush?
Who's calling? Yes, Gary.
Thank you for accepting my donation. That's
Oh,
why
is
I
that you?
stayed.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't know it was yours, but I appreciate it.
That's why I want to explain my abstention.
Okay, thank you.
Have anything else you want to give us?
All right, next item. It is number D, entertain a motion to approve the formation of 120-day GRF Revenue Ad Hoc Committee for the purpose of identifying, evaluating, and recommending innovative revenue-generating initiatives and passing a friendly amendment that the committee will not be a competitor to United's current revenue committee. Wow.
Read the resolution.
Should read the resolution.
Okay, don't we want to have a motion first?
He has to read it first.
Okay.
Okay, here it is. Resolution 90-25-XX, Revenue Ad Hoc Committee. Whereas the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors has expressed concern over inflation cost increases while maintaining high-quality services and amenities, and now therefore be it resolved January 7th, 2025, the Board of Directors hereby establishes a Revenue Ad Hoc Committee and assigns the duties and responsibility as follows. Mission. The purpose of the GRF Revenue Ad Hoc Committee is to identify, evaluate, and recommend innovative revenue-generating initiatives and report back to the board with findings and recommendations. The membership. The Revenue Ad Hoc Committee shall be composed of 3 current directors and no more than 3 advisors selected from at-large members. At-large members will be owners and may or may not currently serve as advisor to another committee. Duties and responsibilities. The GRF Ad Hoc Revenue Ad Hoc Committee will be chaired by the current director from the GRF Laguna Woods Mutual Board as voted upon at the first noticed ad hoc committee meeting. Resolved further, the GRF Revenue Ad Hoc Committee will be automatically disbanded the sooner of 120 days after the approval of formation upon conclusion of duties and responsibilities assigned herein and or when directed by the board. The approval of this resolution is requested.
Are you moving the resolution?
Okay.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
I second the motion.
I thought he
Oh.
did.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Do we have any discussion? Yes, go ahead.
Question for Steve? You gave a staff report on this. Can you summarize a little bit of what was presented? I'm so sorry.
No problem. So the intent of this was, as part of the finance committee, the meetings already tend to run anywhere between 2 to 4 hours depending upon the subject. So this is an opportunity to discuss potential future revenue sources that could add towards the budget. The time frame that was given was in anticipation of collecting any kind of information. That way it could be included into the April-May time frame of the 2026 business plan. Once again, it was made the comment that this was not intended, this is for GRF specific, right? So some of the ideas that have been presented through United won't necessarily, like the intention is not to poach from other sources. The intention is to come up with new creative ideas to bring in revenue from to benefit the community. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Yes, Andy?
Thank you, Steve. Hello.
Hello.
I'll be working again with you. 2 things here. Tactical plan, strategic plan. So you need ideas for the upcoming 26 tactical plan. And that would do this. Second thing is longer range. Things take time and they need to be explored. That's a strategic plan issue. And I'm hearing that this would identify for further study. But the real focus is on the 2026 business plan. Is there something you can, and so the deliverable on this committee is a report with both sections. I'm extrapolating, but there'd be a short-term ideas and a longer-term ideas, and that's the report.
If that's the direction of the committee. So again, the intent was to come up with new ideas for the community from revenue sources. If you wanted to alter it a little bit and have short-term and long-term, that could be recommendations that come out of the committee, correct?
Okay, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. Personally, I think that's the way to go. But we do need guidance for the 2026 business plan. And like I say, I've seen it around it. Things take time to implement. Secondly, stuff pops up, objections or changes. So you really need to focus on the short term because that's where the information's required. Anyway, just want to say that that's my understanding, having read this. It's ideas that need to, and the short-term ideas will get a lot more study than the longer-term ones.
Correct. And what I foresee is what you want to do is this committee will come up with the ideas, and once it is presented to the board, future action will take place. After the initial term ends, it doesn't mean that everything needs to be summed up. What you want to do is come up with the ideas, present it to the board, and allow the board to say yes or no. And then if the board says yes to certain activities, then additional work will have to take place. Not necessarily performed by the committee, most likely by staff or whoever you designate.
Got it. Okay. Okay, Martin first.
So
and
it
Gary
should
second.
be that we don't compete not only with United's revenue generating committee, but any of the mutuals that might create one. We don't want to be a competitor to. It's not just United, correct?
Correct. A comment was made during the meeting, and that's why that was included as a friendly amendment specific to United. But the intention is clearly to benefit GRF.
You don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Correct, correct.
Thank you.
Okay, Gary,
I move the motion.
motion has been made.
I said I moved the motion. I'm calling for a vote.
Call for a vote, okay. Okay.
Any objection?
Okay.
No, you say any
I
objection.
will, okay. If there's no objection, then we can move forward and vote for it.
Take a vote, and everybody at home sees it.
That's right, so we got to take a vote here. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, are we voted? Okay.
Thank you. I think motion carries. Did we get everybody? Yes.
Mr. President, at this time, is it appropriate to appoint the 3 members from the board who will then organize this endeavor?
Is this the right time to do it? Or when
We could do that during the committee assignments, if you would like,
Okay,
at 12G.
It's in there.
okay.
Okay. So, next item would be entertain a motion to approve seeking out a professional advisor for the purpose of updating the investing policy or investment policy on behalf of the corporation and made with the underlying principles of the following order: safety, liquidity, where applicable, and yield. So I'm looking for a motion to approve this.
So you got to move?
There is no resolution to read.
There is no
Oh, okay. Just an endorsement, okay.
Oh, this is the old investment.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, do I have a motion? Gary, you move?
So moved.
I'll second.
Steve seconds, okay. Do we need to go further, or shall we just?
We just
Which
vote.
one are we voting on now? Where, what?
We are at number 12E.
12E, okay.
Okay. So if there is no objection, then we can vote? Or do we want to hear something from Steve?
We already heard from Steve,
Okay.
didn't we?
You have a question?
Just, Steve, do you have anything that you can offer
Yes,
relative to this position?
Just as a simple comment, I just wanted to make certain that everyone is aware, you currently have an investment advisor. The request here is to change it to a different advisor, and we will be bringing an advisor to the next Finance Committee in February. There has been...
Consider changing.
To consider, correct, thank you.
Okay. So, moving forward, if there is not, yes, Andy?
We're voting.
I know, I just have a question here about the investment policy.
He has a comment.
Investment policy, I saw an attachment, it was from 2021, and there's still 30% is allowable in corporate bonds. So that's an existing policy. Not that we would go that way, but we could. So is there any, we're talking about investment advisor, not the policy. Correct.
That's correct. So the intention was to consider having a different investment advisor come in and review that policy, and then come back with some feedback.
Okay.
And then at that time, that you would potentially adopt a new policy
Okay,
after
so-
the input from the advisors.
So baked into the budget then for 2025 already is a fee for advisor.
Correct.
So this would be, not splitting hairs, but roughly the same. If we were to change advisors, they're going to be in the same ballpark,
Who knows?
cost-wise.
That'll depend upon your decision. So.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Let's move forward. We are in the voting section.
We haven't finished this discussion.
Okay, you haven't?
He called.
Okay.
What do you, Steve? Yeah, we haven't finished the discussion portion of this motion. Okay?
He said, are there any objections? No one objected.
No, my hand went up.
He didn't acknowledge you.
Yes, he did.
We proceeded.
Let's move forward, Gary. Let's move forward.
I just am wondering, is there any projected additional costs associated with the approval of this recommendation?
There are no additional costs associated with this decision. Depending upon any choice that is made, if you were, I'm just going to exaggerate, if you chose a advisor who doubled your fees, obviously the cost would go up, but all that would be considered during the evaluation stage.
Thank you.
Okay, please continue voting. All right, motion carries. Next. I think we are having some kind of a discord over here, so here. Next item is to entertain a motion to approve defunding of 2 reserve expenditure items from the equipment fund and 4 from the facilities fund on December 31st, 2024, with the addition of defunding JP blah blah blah, the whole big long number. So, do you have a
Yes, I do.
okay. Do you have a resolution for that?
Resolution 90-25-XX. Proposed defunding at end of year. Whereas Resolution 90-24-48 adopted and approved capital reserve expenditure plan and this corporation for the year of 2025. And whereas department heads reviewed the reserve expenditure report and identified items eligible to be chosen for funding reduction, and whereas the Golden Rain Foundation recognized the need to remove 2 reserve expenditure from equipment fund and remove 5 from the facilities fund by the end of the year, December 31st, 2024, as follows. The phone system, $270,044. Centralized irrigation system, $193,715. That's from those 2 from the equipment fund. From the facilities fund, golf starter public address system, $5,849. Repair shop electrical upgrade, battery equipment, $126,804. Archery room beam replacement, $6,113. Clubhouse One landscape design services, $2,000. Space utilization dash building E, $7 million. Now therefore, be it resolved, January 7, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves this resolution in accordance with the description reasoning. Resolved further, the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry approval of this resolution is requested.
Look for a motion. Thank you, Alison. Any second? Steve seconds. Discussion, anybody? Okay. Yes, Martin?
The agenda called for 4 items on the facility fund, but the resolution read 5. Do we need to clarify that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With the addition of, is
Okay.
3, 4, 5.
With the addition of. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Okay, I have 1 or 2 questions for you, Steve. And I'm just asking this so that people in the homes can understand it if they are looking at the document. The column says ITD. It says, what does it stand for?
Incurred to date.
Correct. So I want people to understand that this column showed how much we spent and how much is going back into the capital fund. So everybody doesn't have this document handy, so they can understand that. Thank you. Okay, so our next step is to vote, isn't it? Oh, more discussion, sorry.
Okay, so we're defunding the centralized irrigation system for $2,444,000. Okay, was it looks like it was installed. Was it installed? And we just didn't spend all the money, is that correct?
It was rebated. Was it not rebated?
Correct. So for the most part, with the exception of the last one, the board approved a capital plan to spend X dollar amount based upon estimates. Ultimately, the actual expenditures came in less, so it was approved by the board to fund these projects, so we're asking the board full circle to approve the reduction and return those funds back.
I have a question about one of the comments under centralized irrigation system. It says, and could not be utilized to track problems in the field. Okay, so the old system could not be utilized, and staff had to physically visit. So they don't have to physically visit the properties anymore?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So do we need to vote now?
Okay.
Any questions? Anybody else? Okay. Please vote. Whoa, what did I do wrong? Big fingers.
What website did you go to?
All right. Did we complete voting? Yes, thank you. Next item is the item which was item G.
Yes.
Update the committee assignments. I still feel that there is a little discord over here about that. Would we like to postpone this or go forward?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't think Egon's going to, he may read the changes, but I'd like to make a motion that the change to the M&V committee on page 3 of 6 be withdrawn from the committee appointments that we make today.
What should the secretary read the changes in the committees?
Well,
First.
if
Yeah.
should the secretary read the changes in the committees?
I would like that, but I also want to suggest that we postpone the committee assignment changes.
I would like to second that motion.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a motion.
Postpone it to when?
Staff said, when I originally made to take this out of the agenda, staff said if we take it out of the agenda, then we can't make any of the committee appointments. And I said, well, therefore, if we want the rest of them to stand, when we get to that item, I will make a motion to remove the changes to the M&V committee when we get there. So we're here, so that's my motion, is to, everything else can stand as far as I'm concerned, but on the M&V committee, I would like that to be revisited at another time and no changes made today. That's my motion.
So, just as a point of clarification,
Kick the whole thing.
the chair is suggesting that we postpone the entire thing until the next meeting. And so if your motion is to not consider the changes in the M&V committee that are described in this document, then that's unneeded, since we're not going to vote on this. So
Staff.
Sorry, just,
I was here for the conversation, but but it's just.
yeah, there's a energy ad hoc committee on here and a finance ad hoc committee. If you guys would like to meet, you would need to approve the committee appointments today. So if you were holding off the committee appointments for the next meeting, you guys would not be able to have the energy or finance ad hoc committee meetings meet.
So, that was the foobar that we did, a mistake. So, what is the suggestion? It's just a discussion item. We're not making any motions, just let's discuss this before we make any
Can't
suggestions.
discuss before you
So-
have a motion.
Do we have is there no motion
I
pending?
put a motion forward to
Has it been
proceed
seconded?
with the committee appointments, with the exception of removing the changes
We hear
in the
you.
M&V
That's
committee.
his motion.
I second it.
So we have to have a
There you
second,
go.
so we can have the discussion we're already having.
Allison seconded it, now you can have a discussion.
So we are here, that's what we're doing. So,
He's
Martin was.
just suggesting that we follow.
Yeah, my suggestion is for the secretary to read the resolution and the changes that are in committee, and that we proceed and then edit the whatever assignments that need to occur and to complete this task.
Okay. What is the next, somebody else had a hand up. Gary?
I would prefer that, since I have questions in a number of areas on this, that I'd like to see it all deferred except the two new committees, that we approve those so that they aren't dead in the water, and defer the rest of it.
Do you want to make an amendment to the motion on the
Yes.
floor?
Well, he said this was just discussion.
Well,
Yeah, so we are discussing. Anybody have any other?
I would be,
There's a motion on the floor, we're
Right.
discussing it. If you want to offer other ideas, you can either ask for a friendly amendment, or you can propose for vote an amendment.
I would ask if we could do a friendly amendment.
Say that again?
A friendly
He's proposing a
amendment
friendly
to
amendment.
change it from just pulling the one, pulling the one to pulling everything except the two new committees.
Why?
As a friendly, because I have made the motion and it's a friendly amendment, I would decline your amendment. If you
Okay.
want to make it.
So now you can make,
Then I
now
will-
you can make a motion, a
Right.
sub-motion for an amendment. Go ahead.
Now, I move to amend the motion that is on the floor to leave every committee as is for now, except for the addition of the two new committees.
Second.
Is there a second?
Do you
Discussion,
second that?
yes, does it, things
Yeah,
need to be read into the?
what you guys can do is go over each individual committee, which is what the other mutuals do, and review the changes that are made. And in, live at the meeting, you can revise the changes and say, no, I don't want so-and-so to be the alternate, or so forth, and make the changes here at the meeting, instead of holding the committee appointments off.
Thank you.
If I may though, I mean, this all began when the chair recognized that there were errors in the committee appointments that needed to be straightened out, and that therefore he was going to suggest that it be pulled off the agenda for today. And that's when I think you pointed out that you have to populate your new committees or they can't meet. And Steve wanted to take, was it? Vehicles and mobility. Off.
Yes.
And so that's where we are, is that we, what the chair wants to do, which is pull it all off, and Steve wants to pull, whatever it is, M and V off. That's your motion.
I don't think Kush has a motion to pull the entire committee appointments from this meeting.
You're right.
That was in the initial conversation.
I just stated my intention so that we can work on this a little more diligently.
And so we have Steve's motion on the floor, which is to
proceed with the
proceed with
exception.
everything except for M and V. And we have Gary's
Yes.
amendment to that motion, which is to
Remove
exclude
everything
everything except for the two new
energy
committees.
and.
So question to you, Michaela, or I should say.
It hasn't been seconded, has it?
It has.
Yes, yours was second.
Did Gary's amendment get a second?
Allison, I guess.
No,
No, he seconded me.
Steve's.
Did anyone second
I'll
Gary's
second
amendment?
Yeah,
Did anyone?
Paul's second.
Gary.
Okay, hang on.
You still need to add your revenue ad hoc committee as well. So that's going to be
Right.
three committees.
Oh, that wasn't even.
That's in there.
What a mess.
I think it's
Can we-
called Finance Ad Hoc Committee, but it's meant to
Can
be.
we just approve two committees instead of the whole 4 pages?
I don't see why not.
Can,
He just reads the red line.
correct. No, if we were to just talk about approving 2 committees right now,
Finance.
which is the energy and the revenue generating committee.
We have motions on the floor.
Right, so is there further discussion on
I'm just asking
the...
a question. Steve, can I please?
No, that's, well, all I'm saying is that we're in discussion right now, and you can
Correct.
do anything you want.
Correct. So we have motions, more than one, but I'm asking in the discussion section, instead of approving the whole 4 pages, can we approve only 2 committees or 3 of the whole?
That's actually the motion that's on the floor,
That's the motion.
is to
That's
do
my
exactly what you just said.
Correct. So that's what I'm asking. Can we just do that?
Well, how can you act on a motion that you've requested to have canceled? You can't. Your motion should not count, your motion should not count, because he's requested
No.
that the thing be canceled.
He did not, he
Did not.
did not make the request in the...
I canceled, but postponed.
No, just he didn't say it out loud in the meeting, at a time when it was appropriate to say it.
Okay,
So
let's
we
not
let-
make it complicated.
I'm
Let's make
I'm
it
trying to
easy.
make it simple. which
Yeah, I
is-
understand. So
we
let's
have-
make
we
it
have
simple for
Steve's-
everybody.
Steve's primary motion, we have a subordinate motion to do basically what you want to do.
If Steve wants to amend his motion, he could amend it so that way you guys are omitting the changes to the committee appointments, however, approving the Energy Ad Hoc Committee, Finance Ad Hoc Committee, and also adding Revenue Ad Hoc Committee.
Point of order.
Steve declined that amendment. That's why we're
decline that
voting
amendment.
on a subordinate amendment.
Point of order. What's up for a vote right now is my motion
Correct.
to let everything go, not make any of the other changes other than adding the appointments to these 2 new committees. That's what's on the floor right now.
Okay, so let's first approve that motion.
Or deny.
Or deny it.
Okay,
Discussion.
okay, and my discussion is that none of this has been read into the minutes. You haven't read the resolution.
I know, but because we have a resolution that has nothing to do with the reading of the minutes. It has to do with removal of certain items. So that's a separate resolution. So we need to either approve his,
Or not.
and then, in which case I
But-
don't read it, or if we deny his, then I read everything. It's that simple.
I don't see simple.
So let's call for a vote for the resolution, the motion which Gary made. Did you get that?
To not make any changes except adding the 2 new committees.
But what about mobility?
To
Did you-
No,
postpone.
not
all-
making
Did
it.
you,
We're leaving
did you
it
get
as
what
is.
he recommended?
He wants to stay chair, that's his deal.
Oh, but your chair.
He wants to stay chair. Okay. Oh, do I get to vote? Or have we figured out how to do this?
Okay, so what are we doing?
We're not voting yet. It's not up on the screen.
Hold on,
Just
hold
add,
on,
just adding the 2
hold
committees.
on. The staff is still working on it.
No changes to the rest.
All right, I'm confused on what we're voting.
Please.
We're voting to keep
Just,
everything?
No, we're voting on his
Just a
sub-amendment
moment.
to the primary amendment.
we made it a little
Primary
complicated for ourselves, but
So remove mobility and vehicles out until.
have a little water, calm down.
Yeah.
Are we okay? Sorry about that.
Yes, thank you. We just needed some clarification. So could you, there were a few motions being thrown out. Could we get a confirmation on?
So
The
Gary
motion.
made a motion to hold off on all the other committees except for adding the
Energy
energy
and
and
finance
finance
ad hoc.
and revenue generating.
Point of order.
There are,
Tech-
is energy and
Mr.
finance
Chairman?
two separate?
Hold on for a second. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Gary's motion is to amend Steve's motion.
Right.
First is Steve,
No,
Gary's
no, no, no,
second.
no. Gary's first. It's a motion to amend Steve's motion, but as he described.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. We do the amendment first and then we do the main.
Yes.
Okay? So the amendment was to
Substitute.
say it again. To remove all.
It is, well, the motion is to substitute or amend Steve's original motion to leave all current assignments in place and only add the 2 new committees.
3.
Yeah, that was the motion.
No, but
No.
Leave the current,
May I made the original amendment. May I
yeah,
read so that everyone understands it?
Okay.
My amendment was to accept everything in the resolution for changes as Cush constructed it, with the exception of taking the M&V appointments off.
Right.
It was not to leave the current committee assignments as they are. It's to accept the changes that Cush has recommended with the exception of the M&V. So if his amendment is to extinguish all of the changes in all of the committees and only to retain the 2 or 3, now I'm confused, because there's an energy and a finance and a revenue,
So
whatever the case
that's
may
the
be.
problem.
That's a different thing altogether. I want to make sure that everybody understands that, because
We
what was
did.
just said was not representative of my original amendment.
right. So what you wanted was, to paraphrase, to keep the M&V and not change it.
Correct.
What Gary's saying is to leave everything and only add, that means we keep the MNV, the MNC, the finance, just leave everything the way it was and only add energy, finance and audit, or whatever it's called.
Finance ad hoc.
That's his
Yeah,
amendment.
yes, that is what Gary was suggesting. And I-
Cancel, yes,
So I
cancel.
think that is a much better deal because it will keep MNB the way it is. All right?
I have a question,
Right.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
You made a list of recommendations to changes for committees
Correct.
for today. Are you now withdrawing
Yes.
Yes,
your
I've been saying
changes
this for 2 hours.
to all the other committees.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, well,
that's what I've been saying for the last 2 hours, since 9:30.
He made that statement.
I wish we had a parliamentarian.
He made that statement at the introduction to the meeting when he said that he was not satisfied with, or he wanted to
Make
have
some
more
changes.
time with the changes.
Correct.
And he recommended at that point not reading any of the appointments. But we have found out that we cannot create these two committees that we want if we do that.
If we do
So
that.
therefore, the
Suggestion.
new suggestion is we ignore all the changes in the old, in the existing committees, and only add the two.
Correct.
And that'd be very simple, and I'd be happy to read those two,
Thank you.
or three when we're talking about.
Is that okay now, Steve? Do you understand?
I have no idea.
Yes, yeah, that's not a problem. And to clarify, to clarify, it's two committees. It's the Energy Ad Hoc Committee and the Finance Ad Hoc Committee, which is, we'll put in parentheses next to that title, Revenue. So it'll be Finance in parentheses Revenue Ad Hoc Committee.
Oh, okay.
So I have a question.
Should be revenue.
I have a question.
That's right.
If I withdraw my motion, and since his is an amendment to my motion, then his amendment will also be withdrawn. And then Kush can make a motion to remove his recommendations that are contained within this document and only ask for the approval of the new committees.
Yes, that's correct.
Sounds correct.
If that's the mechanism, then I will withdraw my motion, and Gary's motion is extinguished because I've withdrawn mine and his was amended. Would that be accurate, Mr. Cowan?
I believe that is
believe so.
correct.
Thank you.
And
So
if
I
it-
withdraw my amendment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now you can make your amendment.
Sorry for the confusion and this waste of time.
We haven't wasted time yet, because you still have to make a motion. We
You
haven't.
still have to make a
Until now, whatever
Yeah.
we wasted, I apologize for that. So I make a motion to not follow the changes of the committee assignments, except add 2 new committees. One is the Energy Ad Hoc Committee, and number 2 is the Finance Ad Hoc, or is that name correct?
No, it is not correct.
It'll be Finance in parentheses next to it, Revenue
Okay.
Ad Hoc Committee.
Okay, go ahead. So you got that? Okay. So that's my motion.
I second the motion.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I call the question.
Well, he has to read the appointments.
Oh,
So,
Okay. So, Energy Ad Hoc Committee, this is a new committee. Steve Leonard, Manohar Motwani, Gary Durst, Brad Reinhardt, and Allison Bach. The chairman has not been named.
Good.
Finance, brackets, Revenue Ad Hoc Committee, Allison Bach, Andy Ganocchio, and William Cowan. Chairman has not been designated. Thank you.
call the
Oh.
question.
well, further resolved.
Okay, resolve further that the resolution 90-24-72 adopted December 3, 20 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. Approval of this resolution is requested.
I have a question.
First, second. Okay, Martin seconds.
My question is, it says resolve further that the previous resolution is hereby suspended and canceled. Should it not say the previous resolution is hereby amended with the addition of these committees?
Thank you, Steve.
I just want to make sure that we're not canceling all the other committees, because
Thank
that's
you,
what was
Steve.
read. Okay.
Good point. Okay, are we done with this? I have a comment. Please, the committees, when you meet your team, please assign the chair. Okay? Okay. With that, do we have to vote?
screen.
Okay, go ahead. Did it come through? Yeah. Okay. With that, we have come to the end of all the items for this. Does the board want to take a 5-minute break?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we are going to take a 5-minute break. It's 11:30. Should I call the meeting back to order? Yeah? Okay. We have quorum. Okay. So, we are now at committee assignments or committee reports. Sorry. The first one is the report of the Finance Committee. Treasurer Corbin, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
Direction, guys to the screen.
Okay.
This first slide, we have, this includes all revenues and expenses. By the way, these pages and categories don't change month to month, just the dollar amounts in them. So this includes all revenue expenses for operating reserves and restricted funds through the reporting period of November 30, 2024. GRF had a net revenue of $2.9 million with a total revenue of $48.1 million and total expense of $45.1 million. GRF was better than budget by $446,000 with total expenses coming in lower than budget by $157,000. All right, next slide. This table displays the operating fund activities, which excludes non-operating revenues, expenses, and depreciation. This report shows a favorable variance of $364,000 through the reporting period, with expenses better than budget by $229,000, offset by non-assessment revenue worse than budget by $593,000. Next slide, please. All right, this slide shows our most significant operating fund variances by category, with green bars representing favorable variances to budget and orange bars representing unfavorable items. Overall, we had favorable variances in cable programming franchise fee, which were favorable by $416,000 due to a lower rate increases for 2024 than we had planned for. The 2025 budget is flat. The variance is furthered by fewer subscribers to the pay channels, decreasing the programming cost. Excuse me for a minute. Thank you. All right, employee compensation and related items were favorable by $353,000, primarily in general services due to various open positions such as auto mechanics and mechanics helper and paving trade helper. Additionally, landscape had various open gardener and irrigation positions offset by outsourced gardener positions. Open positions remain throughout the organization and recruitment is in progress. A partial offset to the savings is found in recreation as events and operating hours return to pre-pandemic service levels, and the 2025 budget was adjusted to reflect this. Then we have the miscellaneous revenue that was favorable by $309,000, primarily due to electric charging station revenue as a result of an increase in the rates that took effect on September 2023. Additionally, the clubhouse labor revenues at the Performing Arts Center were higher than budgeted due to the high number of events held by clubs. Furthermore, demand is higher year to date for personal training and group classes at the fitness centers. All right, unfavorables. Outside services were unfavorable by $316,000, primarily due to grounds maintenance outsourcing gardener positions as they remain unfilled. The variance was furthered by an increase in credit card payments for broadband services as payments via credit cards have increased in popularity amongst residents. Utilities and telephone were unfavorable by $478,000, primarily due to electricity rates being higher than budgeted. Electricity rates have been adjusted for the 2025 plan. Broadband services were unfavorable by $747,000 due to clients allocating fewer dollars to cable TV advertising and instead towards other digital platforms that provide advertising metrics. In addition, revenue for set-top boxes is lower than anticipated as streaming becomes more popular among our community. All right, so let's move on to the next slide, please. There we go. This slide shows sources of revenue other than the assessments such as fees and rentals. To date, we have received $9.8 million of non-assessment operating fund revenue as shown in this pie chart. By category, we can see that our largest revenue is broadband services, which is internet, set-top boxes, ad insertion, and premium channels, followed by golf revenue and other occupant revenue, which includes class fees, electric vehicle charging revenue, additional occupants fees, equestrian center fees, and RV storage fees, among others. Additionally, club rentals and fee events and merchandise sales. These revenues offset costs and help keep our assessments down. Next slide, please. Consistent with prior months, our largest operating fund expense is compensation, followed by cable and programming expenses. Of the $40.3 million excluding depreciation, these two categories account for 69% of the operating expense. Insurance, professional and legal, utilities and fuel, and outside services, etc., make up the remaining 31%. Slide number 6, please. All right. The reserve and restricted funds adjusted balances are shown here. Starting with the first column on the left, reserve funds have a combined ending balance of $44.3 million. Restricted fund balances have an ending balance of $2.8 million. Included in these totals are contributions received received this year through assessments, trust facility fees, and investment earnings. The second column shows the work in progress of $11.2 million for reserve and $0 for restricted activities, reflecting the amounts paid for projects not yet completed. The third column represents the resulting adjusted fund balances of $33.1 million for reserve and $2.8 million for restricted. All right, slide 7, please. We have a slide here to show the resale history from 2022 through 2024. Community-wide sales total 400 through November 30, 2024. Most of these transactions generate trust facility fees, the transfer fee, which is used as a source for our reserves. Slide number 8. The listing on this slide gives you an idea of where the reserve money is committed. Of the $29.9 million appropriated by the board for various projects and equipment purchases, the remaining encumbrances against our reserve funds is $14.4 million, primarily for renovation projects. Restricted funds had a total appropriations of $47,000 for the West Creek Fuel Modification Project, which has been completed. And slide 9. Here we compare our adjusted fund balances to historical balances for the past 5 years, showing that GRF has averaged $29.4 million in reserve funds and $2.7 million in contingency funds. And that's it.
Thank you, William.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Yes, go ahead.
Bill, slide number 6, we just voted to defund certain projects. So the 11 million one that is shown for work in progress, is that now going to be decreased by the amount we just defunded?
I believe that's so, but I would need to verify with.
It'll show up in the year-end
Yeah,
numbers.
it'll show up. I mean, we are defunding it as of the
Right.
end of the year, so it should show up
in
right
those.
there.
Okay,
on-
thank you. Andy?
Anybody else? Yes, Andy.
Two things. Did I hear we have a operating deficit of 446,000? True? Deficit.
It's, I mean, the technically, yes, but I actually have to have Steve explain this better than I will be able to. That is budgeted into the budget because there were excess fees from prior years that are used to cover those technical losses.
Okay, so the bottom line is that at the end of December, and I'm assuming we will still have an operating deficit, it will go against the contingency fund. I think there was $2.7 million in the contingency fund. This, whatever the number is, let's say $500,000, it would reduce that contingency fund. I just want to.
I think that is correct.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the
That's
point
what the
being
purpose
is
of
that,
it is, yeah.
there were excess funds from prior years that are used to fund the what is a paper deficit for this year.
Okay. The second point, and this is really for Steve, because he has a knowledge of energy, which I don't. On the electricity being over budget, can that be offset to some degree by time shifting? In other words, using technologies such as batteries, could we shift the energy, the electricity usage more to batteries in the high? Is that possible?
So let me preface this with, we ran so far over budget in 2024 on electricity. It was like $600,000, I think, all in. Primarily as a result that the budgeted amount for the year was around $1 million. The prior year's budgeted amount, I believe, I'm doing this off the top of my head, was about $102 million. So, or $120 million?
1.2.
1.2, right. So, 1.2, thank you. So somehow, in 2023, we budgeted 1.2, and in 2024, we budgeted $1 million.
Okay.
That didn't make sense because electric rates didn't go down. So that's part of the reason we're so far over budget for 2024, the 600,000. Had staff originally put in a budget of 1.3, for example, we would have been 300,000 over. To answer your question, approximately half of our electricity expense is demand charges. So your bill is broken up into how many kilowatt hours you used and how much you pay per kilowatt hour depending on time of day. There's a little bit of difference there. And we're on commercial rates rather than residential rates. The other half of the bill is demand charges. And the demand charges are what is the greatest amount of electricity that you drew during the month, during off-peak hours, on-peak hours, and super peak hours during the summer. So that you take that bill and then you blend it and you say, oh, we're paying about 28.5 cents per kilowatt hour. But as you point out, when you have half of the bill being demand charges, you go, well, if we could eliminate half of that half, right, we could reduce our electricity costs by 25%. Batteries would help you do that because you can charge the batteries at night when the rates are the cheapest and then put them into effect between 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 9 o'clock at night, which is the highest amount of demand. Batteries are expensive. Batteries are also prone to fire because they're primarily lithium ion. So there is a concern which could increase your insurance costs. And the first thing you always want to do in any energy planning is say, where can I reduce my demand first? If you have incandescent light bulbs in the ceiling, change them out to LED, you'll cut your demand by 70%, just using a number. In our cases, in clubhouses, they're open all the time. So you're not going to close the clubhouses between 4 and 9 to try to save some money on the electricity. There are other places, however, like this building, where table tennis is up there from 4 to 9 every day, all the time, even on the weekends, which actually increases our bill. So the answer is yes, you can use batteries. It will increase the cost to affect that.
Sure.
The people that I have spoken with basically have said, if you put aside the money that you would spend on the batteries and not worry about the demand charges to start with, and build your solar PV array to maximize your production as far as the number of kilowatt hours per year, you'll get your bill down.
Okay.
You can use a combination of both, but it becomes much more complex, much more costly, and much more to maintain on a reserve item basis.
Well, it sounds like something for the new Energy Committee to look at. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Next is the Community Activities Committee. that would be me. So the last meeting was December 12th, 2024. Many items were reported, mainly the village tree lighting in December at Clubhouse 1. The Monday movies will be on hold due to the PAC going through a renovation of the sound system. Coming up in the village is the Village Bazaar on January 25th. There are some new classes coming up, like the Latin line dancing and the Polynesian hula and a lot more stuff. Next meeting of the Community Activities Committee is on January 9th, 2025. Next is also landscape.
It's in 2 days, right?
Correct. Correct. You're absolutely right. After that is landscape, and that's me also. So landscape committee was held on December 11th, 2024 at 1:30 in the boardroom. We had a field trip on that day, woohoo, which was good, to go to Gate 14 and review a mini eucalyptus forest over there. If you haven't been there, ask somebody, they will show you where it is. It was requested to trim them. The committee has decided to add these trees to the regular trim cycle. A new walking path was requested through the landscape of the Clubhouse 5. Unfortunately, it was denied. Next meeting is scheduled for February 12th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. in the boardroom. Thank you. After that is the report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee. Director Reinhardt is not here, so I don't think so.
Who's the other GRF person on that? Who's on that committee?
I am.
Would you have any idea what you guys did? Since it was
No.
not communicated to him.
Yeah, no, we had just kind of get up to speed because it was Director Reinhardt's first meeting. And our next meeting will be on February the 12th. Okay?
Thank you. Okay, next item is Media and Communications Committee. Director Bach, do you have any information?
A whole new world. We're meeting on the 24th. Last meeting was in October with people no longer here. So we'll see what happens. So
Okay.
you will find out next
Very well.
month. Yeah.
The other thing is that they have changed the name from Media and Communications to
Just
Communications.
Yes.
Which is a good idea too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Media belongs elsewhere.
Okay. Next one, report of the broadband ad hoc. Director Rosa, do you have any information?
Just that our last closed committee meeting was November 18th, and been in contact a lot with the broadband department. Next meeting is to be determined. I can say that it's been publicized that we are in negotiation, and that I don't know if you saw this day or if you saw Let's Talk Tech with Debbie Dotson. But yeah, there's a negotiation going on. But so yeah, we're excited about going forth with when next meeting is held, probably near the end of this month.
Wonderful. Are you done?
I am done.
Thank you. Report of the Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Director Stephen Leonard.
We have not met since, was it December, I believe?
November.
November.
6th.
We're scheduled to meet again this coming February. So there's nothing really to report from the committee level. However, I will say that, as I mentioned earlier, I put city manager Chris Macon into contact with our M&V department director, Robert Carroll, to try to work on some improvements in the transportation to the benefit of both the city and the residents here, offset some of our $1.75 million transportation budget. And I've also been taking my own deep dive into the recent vehicle purchases over the last couple of years and the conformance to our policy that was passed in 2022. And I will be bringing that up in the committee meeting next time around, and it will be in the agenda. So, thank you.
Okay, next would be the Security and Community Access Committee, Director Garthoffner.
Yeah, so the committee has not met this year. We're going to meet on February the 26th. If you have, I plan to put on a couple of new items up for discussion on that. If you have anything of real interest that you would like to bring up at that meeting or would like to have on the agenda, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the Laguna Woods Village traffic hearing. Director Durst, do you have anything to tell us? The last meeting was
The
held on
meeting
November
for
20th.
December was canceled or postponed because they only had 2 cases and because it being the holidays. So the next meeting is scheduled for the 15th. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to attend that, so I've asked our alternate to step in for me.
Sure. Next one is Executive Member Hearing Committee, Director Bada. I haven't attended any other meeting so far, so I have nothing to report. The next meeting is going to be February 6th, 2025. Moving along, report of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Director Rosa.
Yes, we met on November 26th, had great discussions about what to do in different types of disasters. We also discussed the antenna project that's going on at the clubhouses, how that got waylaid, but we're looking at trying to put together a task force that can finish the project or get somebody else in there that can do that. But our next meeting is going to be on January 28th here in the boardroom. And I'm also the chair of the ITAC committee. I could not attend it the last meeting, so I'm hoping that I had Director Steve Leonard chair it for me. Steve, do you have anything you can add, please?
It's a closed meeting, so we talk in the closed session.
Well, other than the meeting occurred, and I had difficulty getting into the meeting through Zoom, so actually someone else chaired it, and I don't remember who that was.
Probably Sue Margolis, maybe.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had technical difficulties getting in on the Zoom, so, 15 minutes into the meeting, I was finally able to get in, and I said, oh, Sue's chairing the meeting? Fine, go ahead.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you, guys. The item number 15 is future agenda items. I don't think I see anything on it, or do I? So now, committee assignment, so now we can put that on it. Got it. All right, so finally, we come to the director comments. I'll start over there with Andy. You want to say something? Okay, next. Manny?
No, thank you.
Okay, Gary?
No comment.
Okay. Ellen?
No comment.
Okay. Thank you. William?
No further comment.
Thank you.
No further.
Okay.
Happy New Year. No comment.
Egon?
No comment.
Stephen?
Depending on your persuasion, the national day today is either National Tempura Day or National
bobblehead day. Take your pick. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no further comments. Let's recess this till 12:30, 12:40?